Welcome to Surviving Seniors. So, my mother's always been a pain, and we knew she was getting on in age and getting a little forgetful and stuff. But it really wasn't until my sister walked into the house and my mother was peeling the laminate off their kitchen cabinets because she said it was time for a renovation of the kitchen and she was going to do it herself, that we realized maybe things were farther along than we realized.
This is how it happens. All of a sudden, you think you're in one stage or in one area, and then all of a sudden, oh, turns out a little bit further than we thought. Or maybe that like sneaking little suspicion in the back of your head you were wondering about is like, ta-da, front and center. You're there now.
Yeah. The senior years are upon you.
Exactly. So that brings us to our topic of anticipatory guidance. What to expect when you're expecting seniorhood.
Nancy, anticipatory guidance, which is a phrase I had not heard of before you taught me it, but it's a concept that I think a lot of people will find familiar.
Yes. Okay. So anticipatory guidance is, I think of the book, What to Expect When You're Expecting, and that book is the spirit of that is anticipatory guidance, which basically just means what's coming up. What are some things you can expect and plan for? And I think there's a lot of parts in medicine that this works well for. So pregnancy, there's a lot of predictable stages. Any developmental stage in pediatrics is, by this age, they'll be rolling over. By this age, they'll be walking and talking. Puberty is sort of what to expect. I think that there is not a lot of information out there for people about what to expect when you and your family are going through seniorhood, because it's so variable and there's so many different, it's unpredictable. And so that is part of why we're doing what we're doing.
Totally. Yeah, because even though it is unpredictable in a lot of ways, there are things that people don't even know they don't know. And there's a lot of things that I know I would have found very helpful when I was going through it with my dad and my mom, that people in your field, it might be very obvious to you, like things that you would need to be prepared for, and not so much for those of us that are not medical professionals that are just stuck in it with our elderly folks.
Yeah. So part of why I wanted to do this, I have people ask me over and over when they are suspecting something wrong with their senior. Like, I think my mom is starting to forget things. I think I'm worried about dementia. And people don't know things. Like, they don't know that you can call the doctor's office and say, hi, I'm worried. I think my mom has dementia.
For me, we definitely felt that way with my mom long before she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. But we thought mistakenly, like, we can't do anything about it because she's a grown woman and, nobody's going to talk to us at her doctor's office because of HIPAA laws and whatever.
Totally. And a lot of times parents are stressed. I mean, seniors are stressed. They themselves might be thinking, oh my gosh, I'm nervous about this. And they don't really want to talk about it. I don't know if I'm feeling self-conscious about anything in my life. I don't want to talk about it either. Yeah. So I get it. And also, their healthcare providers need to know. And like when I see patients in my office as a nurse practitioner, I'm only, I have 20 minutes with them a handful of times a year. And so a lot of times people, either I don't pick up on it or the subtle changes. And it's super helpful to have somebody give me some background information. And so the way this kind of works is, because of HIPAA laws, you're right. I, as the provider or the doctor's office, cannot tell anybody information about a patient without their permission. However, we can receive information about a patient without permission because I'm not saying anything. We can't even acknowledge that a loved one is a member in the practice, but you can call up, and there's a couple ways to do this. One is you can call up and say, hi, I'm not sure if you have a release of information to talk to me. I know my mom is a patient there, and I want to tell the doctor or nurse practitioner that I'm worried my mom has dementia. and you will get sent to somebody's voicemail, or they're going to take that down and say, I'll have someone call you back. You can say, I am not looking for any information. I am only looking to give information.
Mm-hmm. That's
And I
awesome.
think when you're really specific about it, it helps.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that's just one thing about anticipatory guidance, is, the release of information and being able to talk to a loved one's doctor. What else do we need to talk about with it?
One other thing that comes up a lot is it's common in all aspects of healthcare. It comes up in anything, in a restaurant, in marketing, anywhere. The people in the place, they know how it's run. The people who aren't there, they don't know how it's run. So a lot of times you walk in, or like you walk into a restaurant, like, where do I order? How does this work? And then they tell you. In the medical system, there's no people just kind of look at you like, what do you need? So you sort of have to know what to ask for. This came up. So I'm a nurse practitioner, but when I was a bedside nurse, there's things you just know. That the sun rises in the east, chest pain means a heart attack. When my dad was in hospice, my sister was struggling because the hospice nurse was saying, look, your dad needs 24/7 care. And there was some confusion in my family, like, why? He's sleeping, or what? He doesn't need anything overnight. And I, as a nurse, know, like, oh, no. What if he needs his diaper changed? Or what if he's thirsty, or is having a problem, is in pain, something? He might call out in the middle of the night. Also, people who are bedridden, they need to be turned. If you can't turn yourself, you have to be turned. And so these are the things that people don't think about, understandably, because they don't do this. Yeah. And so you think, oh, we're home on hospice. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into this that to us in the healthcare field feels like no big whoop. But to a lot of people, they're like, I didn't even know that I have to consider that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly was my experience too. I mean, talk about like a deer in headlights. My siblings and I so often were like, I have no idea. We didn't even know where to begin in a lot of the things. And we were learning, trial by fire, on the job. And it was, and continues to be, because my mom is still with us, miserable. It caused so many fights. We made so many wrong decisions because we just had no idea what we were doing. And so for me, that's the most important thing about surviving seniors, is that I want to make sure that as much as I can help other people not reinvent the wheel and learn from my mistakes, learn from your expertise, and come up with something for them to, just a starting point at least.
Totally. I think you bring up a good point. Most times you're in it. That phrase where things happen slowly and then all at once.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to maybe parents' health or people's health going downhill, there are subtle signs that either we're not sure about, and then all of a sudden either there's like a health crisis, or you're just like, whoa, you forgot to pay your taxes. Whoa. And then you're all of a sudden in this new phase, and you're trying to build the plane while you're flying it. And so there's no time. Everything feels like a crisis. So everybody is scrambling all the time to try to figure out what's going on. And so that's what we are trying to do, is when you're scrambling to know, oh my gosh, there's a place that we can go to look up some of this stuff.
Right. And sort of, in a broader framework than, say when you are expecting a child, just give you sort of stages of, this will happen during this maybe preliminary stage of aging, and this happens, blah, 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 as you go on. So yeah, we won't know when maybe your parents are going to need to be put into diapers exactly like we do when a baby is born. but there are things that we can put in a framework that would help people.
Yes, exactly. It's different because the other thing that is challenging is when you have a senior, they have strong opinions of what they would like and how they would like things to go down. And so even if this needs to happen, they might not be ready for this. And so
Right.
they are going to fight you. At least that was our experience.
Yeah. And also you're dealing with generational differences. I mean, huge generational differences. I think I've told you about my dad. You know, if we wanted to talk to him about anything serious like his end of life wishes, he would pretend to be asleep. So, you know,
The ostrich community is wonderful. When
yes,
burying your head in the sand,
right.
look, I support it in a lot of ways until it doesn't work.
Also, what you were saying before, it happens slowly and then all at once. I have so many friends who have parents even in as late as their 70s saying, well, I think what you're doing is great. I don't need it yet. We're not there yet. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
you put your seatbelt because it's coming hard and fast at you.
Exactly. So I think we're basically here to just tell our listeners that there's more to come. We are going to be offering more information. And also we want to hear, what do people want to know more about? We have our website, survivingseniors.com. And we have a little presence on Instagram as well at Surviving Seniors. But we're looking to grow and find out what people want and how we can help them.
Instagram is great and we can be really funny, that's for sure. But yeah, we really want to create a community so that people can tell us what they need and we can help them in, fine tune that.
So follow us. Till next time.
See you soon.